Thank you for being here today, Mr. Secretary. Thank you for coming today and bringing your host of cast of thousands. We've got a lot. You got a lot of support here today. We've got Secretary big budget, big support. We're proud to have Secretary McDonald be here today. We're proud to have in order, not necessarily in order, but Danny Pummel, Dr. Shulkin, great to have you here, and thanks for the great job you're doing. Ronald Waters, Laverne Council, and Ed Murray, we appreciate all of you being here. With all that support, Mr. Secretary, I'm sure you're going to do a great job. I'll make my opening statement and then turn to Senator Blumenthal, and then we'll go straight to your testimony. And as in the last case, Mr. Secretary, I don't want you to feel compelled by any 5-minute light. I want you to be able to say what you've got to say. Understanding the average attention span of a United States Senator is probably about 9 minutes, so after that we all start blinking, so speaking for myself, that's a self-imposed limitation. Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, for being here today, and we're looking forward to discussing the $182 billion budgetary appropriation for the Veterans Administration. Be an 8.9% increase over the fiscal year 2016 budget. Should it be adopted, medical care funding would increase by $3.8 billion or 6.3%. The Office of Information Technology, or IT, would be increased by $145 million. I'm very encouraged that you've embraced a program to merge the non-VA programs to see to it that choice is delivered correctly and appropriately and funded well, and we look forward to hearing your discussion on that. Your testimony also talks a little bit about accountability. In fact, I read the information. Accountability as a word is used one time, but it's probably the most important thing that this committee is really interested in doing. You and I had a great meeting at your office last week, Mr. Secretary, and I want to acknowledge publicly with the members of the committee and thank Senator Blumenthal and Senator Murray's staff for the work they're doing. I have stated publicly, and I'm doing it again right now publicly, that my goal is to see to it that by the end of March, we have an accountability bill for the Veterans Administration employees that's right for the veterans and right for those employees, and that we look to the future to see to it if we have problems in the future, which I hope we'll never have them, but life's life, you're going to have them, that we have a defensible accountability system within the department to correct a wrong and make it not happen again. We've had too many cases, most of them, in fact, if not all of them, pre-year service, Mr. Secretary. But IG reports from 2 and 3 years ago that are impossible to explain, lack of accountability implementations that's impossible to understand. We want to put that behind us for the future and build a platform that's good for the employees, good for middle management, and good for the Veterans Administration, but most importantly, good for the veterans themselves so they know they're getting quality services and quality accountability. It's very important that we do that. That's the most important thing that we can do. And lastly, you talked about reforming the appeals process. I hope you'll address that in your remarks because that's something we've talked about many times, have not done, something we rightfully need to do, and I'd love to know as much specific about what you're going to recommend as possible. We're glad you're here today. Appreciate your service to the country, and it's an honor for me to introduce the ranking member, Senator Blumenthal.